This weekend, the Blancpain GT World Challenge Europe brings us to Germany. We're at the Nurburgring. It's the penultimate weekend in the championship deciding trail. The pressure is on. Last time out, we were at Zandvoort. It was an all-Audi front row. And as the lights changed, a demon start from Christopher Hauser had him on the inside line for the race lead under a huge attack from Dries Vanthoor's Audi on the outside. Also in a hurry was the Raffaele Marciello Vincent Abril Mercedes, trying to wriggle its way through the traffic on the narrow Dutch circuit. Also in a hurry, number 63 Lamborghini, and that would prove to be very strong indeed on the pit stops, catapulting itself back into contention. Up front though, the Audis held sway. The Santalot car leading the way as Christopher Hauser built the gap in number 25. Pit stop window open, everybody cycled through, and the best pit stop of the race came from the number 63 Grasser Lamborghini. That would leave the pit lane in second place, suddenly in with a chance of a race win. Into the pit lane came Hauser to give way to Simon Gachet, looking for a maiden Blancpain GT win. Gachet blasted out of the pit lane, the question being, could he keep the race lead? The answer was yes. It was a healthy gap over the Lamborghini in second place as battles raged on all the way around the lap. Andrea Caldarelli here, for example, being stuck in traffic and struggling to find a way past the number 88 Vincent Abril Mercedes. Tried everywhere. It couldn't have been closer, but the Mercedes was a wide car to pass. Also busy battling number 4 Black Falcon Mercedes, eager for points to try to maintain the advantage in the championship. But it was an Audi win, a Santalot win, Christopher Hauser and Simon Gachet victorious at Zandvoort. Second across the line, the number 63 Christian Engelhardt Mirko Bortolotti Lamborghini, but delight for Hauser and Gachet. Another ultra-competitive race in this year's championship. The drivers headed to the podium, but for Audi it was a 1-3. Santalot coming home victorious. Now remember that the Blancpain GT World Challenge Europe also has sister series in America and in Asia. Two manufacturers, Ferrari and Mercedes, register drivers across each of the three elements. Ferrari, for example, strong in America, strong in Asia, but Andrea Bertolini, David Perel, Renat Salikov and Louis Machiels represent the prancing horse here in the European element of the Blancpain GT World Challenge. It's a formidable lineup for Ferrari, but so too is the lineup from Mercedes. It's a brand that's looked really strong this year in America. Here in Europe, the three-pointed star is represented by Raffaele Marciello, Luca Stolz, Thomas Neubauer and Mauro Ricci. And it's a pretty strong group of drivers in Asia as well. Small wonder that Mercedes is doing so well in terms of points against Ferrari in this year's Blancpain GT World Challenge. Mercedes has the advantage over Ferrari, but there are still plenty of races with points on offer. This weekend, we could be on target for another Audi victory. The cars are always well suited to this circuit, and number 1 with Dries Vanthoor at the helm could be a potential winner.
The new car has actually been going quite well. I think it has, during the season it has won a few races, so I think that's a good sign. But yeah, new teammate is always nice, and it's always exciting the first couple of races to know what each other's weaknesses are, strength points are. So, but we know each other now quite well, and he's proven that he's been quite fast. So hopefully he can be here as well. And like I said, try to get a victory this weekend.
Over at Black Falcon, there's a championship potentially to be won this season. Is Maro Engel thinking wins or points?
It's fantastic to race at the Nurburgring. It's a really special place, and one where both myself and the team, we have fantastic memories winning the 24-hour race here at the Nurburgring on the legendary Nordschleife, but also on the Grand Prix track. Some great successes. The team was on pole position here last year, so that'll definitely be the aim for us, because as we know in sprint competition it's super tight, and yeah, just excited to race here in front of our home crowd, and hoping for a lot of success, but also a lot of support.
The Santalot Audi team has been one that's been getting stronger and stronger and stronger over the season. The Spa 24-hour winning team in the past, and victorious at Zandvoort as well. And with Audis going so strongly in free practice around the Nurburgring circuit, this car could be on for another victory. So thinks Christopher Hauser.
In Blancpain GT Series so far, no win for me at Nurburgring. We had one the last time in Zandvoort, so I guess it would be time to do someone here. We have a great car. I mean, the Audi of Santalog Racing is just running well so far. We have a good car, we just have to try to do it.
Lamborghini is also strong around here. What about the Grasser Racing team as a potential victorious squad this weekend? Number 63 in the hands of Mirko Bortolotti and the ever-rapid Christian Engelhardt.
Yeah, first of all, I'm really looking forward to racing here on this track. I had my debut here in the Blancpain GT series back in 2016 when it was still an endurance event, and we won the race there, so really good memories from the start. And this year also the Nurburgring has been very good for us, or nice to us in other championships as well. So really looking forward to this weekend.
Aston Martin is also looking for a first outright win this season. It's been good in the Silver Cup, but what about the brand taking an outright win here? The R Motorsport Vantage GT3 looks quick, especially in the hands of former single-seater gun Marvin Kirchhofer.
I think we should be quite strong in the second and the third sector because it's quite fast. Our car showed good potential in fast-speed corners this year. I feel like Ricky and me, we kind of deserve, especially the team deserves the first podium this year. We've been a couple of times very close to it, so we really give it a big push this weekend to get our first bottle of champagne and some trophies.
ACA ASP has enjoyed a good season with its fleet of Mercedes as well, not only taking Silver Cup honours on numerous occasions, but also an outright win at Brands Hatch. And Nico Bastien and Thomas Neubauer have their sights on the Silver Cup title. Nico Bastien is in confident mood.
Me as a driver, I also want to compete against the pro drivers, and I also prove that I can be there with the pros, but our main target is to win the Silver Cup Championship at the end of the season, but maybe already this weekend, as we have a quite good fleet already.
The amateur driver isn't overlooked in the Blancpain GT World Challenge Europe this year, and for example, over at HB Racing is another very rapid Ferrari. Florian Scholzer comes to the championship this year with bags of experience and is enjoying his racing.
For me, to drive the Ferrari is the first time. It's amazing. It's still for me, it's a car with the most emotion to drive a Ferrari as a race car. It's completely normal now. I think it's one of the most beautiful, but you get used, and so it's normal to drive it now.
The sun is shining, the grid is formed, we're just about ready to go racing here for race one in the Blancpain GT World Challenge Europe at the Nurburgring. It's the full Grand Prix circuit, 5.1 kilometres long, and it is going to be Lamborghini and Mercedes at the front of the grid. This is the penultimate brace of races. We've got another weekend, next weekend at the Hungaroring to determine the championship. So for Lukas Stolz and Maro Engel, there's an element of perhaps keeping out of trouble, consolidating, banking points rather than any heroics here, but we'll see. We're set to go racing then. Race one of two here at the Nurburgring. It's the Blancpain GT World Challenge Europe. It's Lamborghini on pole, Mercedes, Audi, Lamborghini to complete the top six. If the race director is happy with everybody's position within the formation, the race will get underway. The lights will flick to green. They accelerate away. A good start made by Bortolotti. Not a great getaway by Stolz on the other side of the front row. So Bortolotti leads Gachet down to turn one. Stolz breaks late on the outside line, tries to get back alongside and reclaims second. Three wide, look for third as they wriggle their way through the corner. 1 or 2 run wide. So far, they've got through without the contact we feared.
Well, that's only turn one. There's 2, 3 and 4 to get through. So the field sort of stringing out the top 6, 7 cars strung out. But there you see just behind, trying to go 2 abreast. In some cases, it'll be almost 3 abreast. Checking a lot of curb on the inside and running around the outside of the corner. So actually, it's one of the better, cleaner starts we've ever seen at Nurburgring.
Agree with that. Down the hill they come then. So the Nurburgring, which has played host to endurance and sprint in the past, indeed in one season it had a helping of both, the only circuit to have done so. Downhill they drop. The race leader is Bortolotti, but look at Stolz. He's back up into that second place. They're gapping the Audis, and Stolz now looking for a way ahead of Bortolotti if he can find it. He'd like to do it on track rather than on the pit stops. There, turning through the Dunlop curve, third is Simon Gachet for Santalog, but the leaders make the sprint up the hill, and right now, Bortolotti holds sway, but he's not getting away.
No, he's not. In fact, Lukas Stolz has managed to claim back maybe a couple of tenths of a second halfway around this first lap, and it's closing up as they exit through the Schumacher chicane. A little bit of use of the curb on the inside. Wow, the Ferrari is running wide, and that was maybe the same Ferrari that went into the tire barrier earlier this morning. Oh, big risk. One of them is that the 87?
That's Ricci. Mario Ricci off the road, yeah. The Pro-Am car, that's the one he shares with Jim Pla. That's a long way off. Is that up at the chicane? Here are the leaders, and we've had the change for third place. Look, Drudy has gone ahead of Gachet. Gachet there drops to fourth, and he's now under attack from Kelvin van der Linde.
Indeed, and that's not going to be an easily defended. Kelvin van der Linde has been, well, coming on the back of a victory, likewise Suzuka, but will want to put his 66 attempt already up ahead of the Santalog Racing version. Same car, basic, everything is identical. But now everything's kind of settled down as they go on to the third lap. Defense coming down, and that's then behind is Marco Mappelli, the challenger to Lucas Stolz, the number 4 Black Vulcan Mercedes, and getting kind of boxed up in the battle that's going on for 4th and 5th place. So here's the start again. A great start by Mirko Bortolotti. Got the run down into turn 1. He got in first, got out first. It was the Mercedes Lucas Stolz who was under pressure on the inside and on the outside. But by the time they got out of the sequence of corners, everything had sorted itself out. So first and second, as they are right now.
As there, Vincent Abril comes under attack now because Steins Rothorst is right up behind him, and that Mercedes in danger of losing ground rather than making up places. So Vincent Abril having a pretty rotten time of it at the moment. Victorious at Zandvoort in race 1, but struggling here.
Well, the balance of the car just entering turn 2 looked like it was a bit nervy, oversteering, which is unusual. Kelvin van der Linde now switches one way, got alongside, so he's taken that position away. Good bit of bluff call by Matt, so he got through. That was probably more to do as much with the mistake that Simon Gachet made that gave the momentum back to van der Linde. He used it, he had to make the switch back, but he got it going into turn 5. Good thinking and good racing.
So game on, and this is Marco Mappelli's view as he drops down the hill now, trying to attack Gachet. And he's just seen that Simon Gachet is able to be overtaken. He is vulnerable, and so Mappelli trying to capitalise on that here. And a change there, look, Charles Weerts runs out wide. Ahead of him goes Nico Bastien, change for 7th place, so a mistake by Weerts. Up through the inside goes Nico Bastien, so a change for 7th. Van der Linde then goes through, and look, Compact is under attack now. Ricky Collard goes to the outside line in the Aston Martin, goes back to the inside line, goes back to the outside line. Weerts fights back against Bastien just up the road ahead of them, and he can't go back through. Compact just keeps Collard at bay. It's all happening.
Getting very, very busy. We're only, 11 minutes or so into this race, and now little mini battles going on all the way through the field. But Nico Bastien, I mean, he's in a Pro-Am car. He is outstanding. Whatever car you put him in, he's outstanding.
This is there, 56 and 66, the Attempto twins, Drudy and van der Linde come through. Ezequiel Perez Compact is being given a driving standards flag for weaving more than one time. But there is the leading group of cars. It's really 6 in a line now, and the man on his toes is van der Linde. Looks for the inside, can't find a way through. Drudy fends him off, but van der Linde is looking very quick indeed.
Van der Linde looks like he knows what he wants to do. He's just waiting for that opportunity for Matteo Drudy to make a little error. He forced that error from Simon Gachet a lap earlier. In fact, in this part of the racetrack, can he do a similar thing to his sister, his teammate?
Van der Linde used to race, of course, here in things like the Sirocco Cup. He's a champion in. He's raced in the ADAC GT series. He knows what this track is all about. He's got a quicker run out of turn 4. Is there a gap on the inside at turn 5? Thinks about it. No, Drudy fends him off.
But Drudy did the wise thing. He didn't pinch the corner because he had contact with van der Linde. But that you could see again, van der Linde using corners 2, 3, and 4 to his advantage. Just didn't quite have the pace coming into turn 5 to make that overtake stick. But Drudy wisely gave him room. Down the inside this time, gets the job done. Drudy actually opened the door and let van der Linde go through. That was as much a teammate cooperation as it was an overtake on the racetrack. Moved down the inside, and that now surely has got to be a pass for Marco Mappelli. He's finally gotten ahead of Simon Gachet. Now he can think forward and look to the back of Drudy. And Drudy is another few tenths up the road. But now Mappelli's released from behind Gachet. He's got the chance before we get into the pit stop door opening, which will be about 8 minutes and so.
This, the replay of Mappelli's move.
Yeah, I mean, finally Mappelli got himself into a position, and even coming into turn 1, it was almost as if the position was, Gachet said, don't give me any more pressure, you can have the position. He didn't really defend. He could have been more aggressive in his defense.
So on board here with Marco Mappelli, and the pit window is now open, so we'll get the cars potentially in this time. Pit window open graphic confirms it as they blast now through the Ad Van Bergen up towards the chicane, and with that slow Ferrari ahead, is this going to just make 1 or 2 teams shout box? Let's see. Yes, leader in, second in, third in, fifth in as well.
They've all shadowed one another And you could see just how late that call was for the leader and the second place car. And then further down the field, Charles Vert in the 8th position dives in as well. So top 4 plus 8th position, all, and now it's almost sort of, well, not quite half the field doing it, but here's where this race is going to be won and lost. The Black Vulcan Mercedes pit lane near the entry to the pit lane, the 63 Lamborghini much further down the pit lane. So Mirko Bortolotti, having done all he was asked to do, he controlled the race from the front. It is now fundamentally out of his hands. So Mercedes going to they've got the car down, and it's about rolling 66 Kelvin down the Linda. Stunning drive from him.
Oh,
and that's car coming out, the car in the pit lane.
And there's the Lamborghini, which is going to just get ahead and keep the lead. So Engelhardt is ahead of Engel. Very close indeed. The officials will want to have a look at all of this, but the Lamborghini stays ahead.
I mean, that was as close to an unsafe release as you could get. The look behind, is that the 563 that's come out now technically in 3rd place?
Should be.
It's one of those issues will be referred to the steward. Was that an unsafe release? Did the Black Vulcan Maro Engel have to stand on the anchors to get slowed down?
So what we've now got is Engelhardt just ahead of Engel, and it's going to be a fascinating battle between those two. In the background, look, it's Andrea Caldarelli, and here is the first of the 2 unsafe releases, potentially, because that is Engel blasting away into the path and well, contact. That's a definite yellow card.
And it was an AM. Is it an AM car? Yes, I think it might be. So that is going to be reviewed unquestionably.
Yeah. And there's the Lamborghini.
And that probably looks less of an unsafe release from that angle, because the Lamborghini was always moving forward and fractionally ahead of the Mercedes.
New fastest lap of the race, Andrea Caldarelli. He's in 11th at the moment as the pit stop cycle through, but Caldarelli has done a 1:56.961. He is closing onto Engel, who is hustling on behind Engelhardt. Mattia Drudi still leads and is still staying out. Now Marvin Kirchhofer does the fastest lap of the race. So this second stint coming alive. Drive-through penalty, number 4 Mercedes. Luca Stoltz gets a drive-through. That's the leader coming in, Matthew Drudi. The officials are ready with the board. It's a drive-through penalty for an unsafe release.
Done and dusted. All Caldarelli's got to do now is run. If he wants to race with Christian Engelhardt, that's up to him.
Yeah.
But it's all over in terms of who's going to get the maximum points out of this release.
So we saw it, we feared it, and it's now been confirmed. And not only that, but look, Caldarelli is right there as well. Does number 4 Mercedes go for the drive-through this time? Yes, it does. It does. To the inside goes Engel, and there suddenly Caldarelli is able to close right up onto the tail of the leader, but down the pit lane comes Engel. The real question now is where he will rejoin. He's going to be outside the top 10 potentially. There is Mirko Bortolotti, who is watching nervously. Christian Engelhardt's narrow margin of 0.7 of a second. Gottfried Grasser is hoping that he's going to be all smiles at the end of the race. Down the hill they come then. Lamborghini 1-2, Audi 3. So Caldarelli here will see Haase closing. If he has to start defending, that's going to give Engelhardt a lifeline.
Again, through the final S's and chicanes, will Caldarelli launch it down the inside this time? Earlier defence from Christian Engelhardt. Watch for the exit. Both exit more or less similarly, slightly wider for the 563, but more or less wheel track to wheel track.
And bear in mind as well that Maro Engel is 12, not yet in the points. He's working his way back towards them. Engelhardt goes defensive at turn 1. Where is Caldarelli? Can he get up alongside? No. Haase is only 9/10 back. He's nearly with them.
And look behind, Charles, Christopher Mies has now drawn himself up into this battle for what would be the final podium position. How can you get that close and not have any contact? Well, that's what Caldarelli is doing.
Mirko Bortolotti looking ever more nervous as his car leads the way. Caldarelli right there behind him, and Christopher Haase is almost with them. But yes, he's losing out a little bit now. Good on the brakes though.
Yes, well, look at Haase, look how he was doing there. That lap, what Caldarelli has been doing pretty much all the stint since he's been behind the wheel. And that was to try and get in early, sneak the nose in early into the final turn and force, in this case, the 63, not down the outside, contact, bodywork, and that's the chance for Christopher Haase, not to just only take second place, but could put himself in the frame for victory.
Contact between the two Lamborghinis. Christopher Haase capitalises and goes second. Andrea Caldarelli loses a place. He will not be happy about that, but he put himself into that strife.
Correct. He didn't have to do that. There was a move that, in my opinion, was an avoidable move. Was never going to work, and all it's done now is give Christopher Haase a chance to take victory. Right up the inside to the lock-up. So Caldarelli's gotten through again. Can he get his way around the outside through turn 70? Has he done it? Wow, what a turnaround in the space of 3 corners.
We're not done yet. Side by side down the hill. Engelhardt on the inside line. Caldarelli has his nose in front. He's got the lead. Caldarelli goes wide into the corner. Engelhardt tries to fight back on the inside. He's got the inside line as they climb the hill, but Caldarelli's got the ground out of the corner and he leads. From second to third to first, Andrea Caldarelli hits the front. Fantastic.
Well, between turn 1 and down to turn 5, it has been absolutely, well, you couldn't hold your breath long enough. It was fantastic racing. That contact coming into turn 1, I thought that's all over for Andrea Caldarelli. Now he's leading the race.
He's away and gone, isn't he? And so now Haase, having done that great job of briefly getting up in the second place, is the one that's frustrated because he is being held up by Engelhardt. They come through the chicane. Haase can see Caldarelli escaping and he needs to try and make a move. He's on the inside line here, coming into the Hyundai curve, but the gap evaporates. Christian Engelhardt defending, but of course, having lost out to the charging Andrea Caldarelli, there is now not a great deal that he can do. Now, here's the first part of it. That was the contact that fired Caldarelli out wide. That gave Christopher Haase the chance to get up into second place on the inside, but then he ran wide. Past him went Caldarelli, who stood his ground on the outside of Engelhardt, and the move was completed really down at turn 8. So it started at turn 1, and at turn 8 we have the new order, and it's the order that we have kept. Caldarelli from Engelhardt from Haase, 1, 2, 3. Race 1 of 2 in the Blancpain GT World Challenge Europe. They break, they turn now through turn 1. Haase tries to squirt up the inside. We'll give him the outside for turn 2. Can he get the undercut now and get the inside all the way around to turn 3? But that would become the outside to turn 4. There's a sideways Mies behind them. Engelhardt hangs on to position. Caldarelli just driving away up the road now. Helped in part, of course, by all these battles going on behind him. Everybody wants to be on the podium here. There's also the best of the Audis to decide upon. There's pride at stake here between Haase, Mies and Vanthoor. So Christopher Haase turns his way down through the right-hander of turn 6. Second, third, fourth, fifth, out of turn 4. Haase right into the back of Engelhardt. Everywhere he goes, there's a Lamborghini in the way. Pulls to the inside, can't go through. Slots back in behind. Now, where's Mies gone to? He has dropped back by a couple of lengths because he's rather busy now defending from Vanthoor. Downhill they will run now, heading towards the right-hander of the Dunlop curve. And this is where there needs to be a really key move coming from Christopher Haase to try and somehow get up alongside Christian Engelhardt. But he's tried most things and he's been rejected, hasn't he? Up the hill they come for the last time. Dries Vanthoor, 5th, has done the fastest lap of the race. Andrea Caldarelli then up towards the chicane. 6th, the car started. It is on target to win here at the Nurburgring. It's going to be a maiden victory of the season. Sorry, a second victory of the season, I should say, because they won at Misano. Caldarelli and Mapelli win number 2. It brings them very much into the game as far as the championship is concerned. Checker flag at the ready for Marco Mapelli and Andrea Caldarelli to win at the Nurburgring. A delighted driver Andrea Caldarelli will be, but for second place, Christian Engelhardt versus Christopher Haase, who is going to try and dive out of the line. Is he? No, couldn't quite do it. So Engelhardt second, Haase third, Mies fourth, 5th Vanthoor, and Milan Doctor in the background is going to be 6th. So the drivers are in Parc Fermé. So too is John Watson.
Andrea, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Now tell me first of all, was this a better victory as a team owner or as a driver?
Difficult to say. All the guys there, they all deserve it. The car was mega. We struggled this morning with quali. As a driver and team principal, I'm just really happy for everyone. We all deserve it.
So to start from 6th, 3rd row of the grid to win, not easy here at Nurburgring.
No, it's not easy at all. It's like really difficult. I tried to really overtake Christian as much as I could. It was so difficult, but at the end, it's you just have to be patient sometimes.
Now, we both know the secret of your car, but we won't tell anybody else.
Nobody knows the secret.
But there was a bit of contact. What happened?
Yeah, I was looking actually, because after that the steering started to be a little bit tricky. I was scared we were losing the power steer. I don't know, I tried to overtake outside and I just see the car coming. Yeah, but nothing happened, hopefully. So.
Marco, you started the car, it was hard going in those early laps.
Yeah, obviously when you are behind the other car, it's not easy to overtake here.
We know our car is very good on the race, very good on tires. We just need to find out something more in qualifying to start in front and have an easier job.
You looked to me to be a little bit sort of cautious when it came to overtaking, but you did get through cars before you handed over to Andrea.
Yeah, definitely. We are fighting for the championship, so risky maneuver are not acceptable anymore.
Very wise, sensible, well done.
So what does that do to the championship? It means it's now 69.5 for the Lamborghini drivers and 63.5 for Black Falcon then. And Marco Mapelli, Andrea Caldarelli take over the championship lead, 6 points ahead of Stoltz and Engel. Mirko Bortolotti and Christian Engelhardt third, ahead of Raffaele Marciello and Vincent Abril fourth, with Christopher Hauser, Simon Gachet and Dries van Thor all next in the standings. A great win for Marco Mapelli and Andrea Caldarelli and the FFF racing team, and that sets up the championship battle very nicely indeed as we look forward to race 2 at the Nurburgring. So we're ready for race 2 here at the Nurburgring. It's a cooler day than yesterday. It's breezier. It has been a lot more overcast, although the sun is trying to break through. This is how the championship currently looks, with Mapelli Caldarelli 6 points ahead of Stoltz and Engel, Mirko Bortolotti and Christian Engelhardt next in the standings as the cars then now work their way down towards turn 5. This is the view on board with Mario Engel in the Mercedes then as he comes into the chicane. The two Audis getting themselves into the side-by-side formation. Number 1, Dries van Thor on pole. Alongside is Christopher Hauser. You've got Christopher Mies then on the second row with the first non-Audi, that in the hands of Mario Engel for company. The cars accelerating their way then now through the right-hander of turn 17, the third row. You've got Marvin Kirchhofer on the inside line, Raffaele Marciello on the outside line. The lights on the gantry are red. When the lights change, the race to get underway. Now then, who makes the best start? Good getaway by Van Thor. On the outside line is Hauser. Christopher Mies lines right up behind Van Thor, ready to try to dive up the inside as they head into turn 1. And Mies goes ahead of Hauser. Here comes Engel up the inside line. The Mercedes tries to go third. It's going to be a real heart-in-mouth moment, this. Hauser into the back of Mies. Kirchhofer run out wide, and Engel gets third there. Look, as they wriggle out of turn 1, and there's contact. Around goes a Ferrari off. Also goes Raffaele Marciello. That's David Perel's Ferrari that's in strife. John Watson, it's happened at turn 2. Contact already.
I mean, for Marciello to get involved in that incident so early, that is a surprise, and certainly will have blown any opportunity for that 88 Mercedes-Benz to get anywhere near the podium.
So big drama. David Perel really frustrating as well because he qualified so well yesterday. The South African driver then finds himself off the road as the leaders drop downhill. Now, there was contact at turn 1 between the Audis. The one that has really come off worse out of that, seemingly, is Hauser, because he's fallen back behind Mario Engel as they drop downhill for the first time into turn 8. Dries van Thor leads, then a gap already. Mies second, Engel third, fourth is Hauser, and then fifth is the first of the Lamborghinis, meaning that Andrea Caldarelli is on his toes, getting up the order, and this is Mario Engel's view. He's got to stay ahead of that Lamborghini no matter what else happens in this race.
Absolutely, the disappointment of having that penalty for contact in the pit lane and unsafe release, that's got to be totally forgotten about. This is a new race, a new opportunity, starting in the second row of the grid. Mario Engel has made good progress, but the 25 Audi all over the rear of the Mercedes coming through turn 12.
On board here with Engel, that's Christopher Mies just up the road ahead then now as the cars accelerate down towards turn 13, and Christopher Hauser is crawling all over the back of Mario Engel. So is this the chance for the Audi? Hauser looks tentatively to the inside. It's no use trying to unsettle Engel because he is a real pro and he knows his way around one of these Mercedes better than most. Look at Hauser though, he's on his toes, and so too is Caldarelli doing his usual late break dive bomb effect almost into turn 17.
Yeah, so you can see Simon Platt having just said, I guess I should say, looking and watching and waiting what's going to happen, but Dries van Thor has used that set of, no, they weren't quite a new set of tyres, but certainly the most fresh of anybody in the grid to pull out what is a 1.2 second advantage at the end of the first lap. But the battle for third and fourth place, Christopher Hauser all over the back of Mario Engel.
And that bodes very ill, doesn't it, for 88? Day done if it's going into its box. So huge disappointment for Raffaele Marciello and for Vincent Abril. Race done. And let's see if we can piece together how it ended up with the damage. Look at the blue Audi. Vervisch gets tapped sideways and then...
Yeah, I mean, Vervisch got caught between the 333 Ferrari. They had contact, and Raffaele Marciello really was doing nothing wrong, keeping out of trouble, and then all of a sudden Vervisch gets snookered across the racetrack and into the side of the Mercedes, and that's effectively it all over. Look again, the defence that's going on coming down into turn 1. That was Phil Keane trying to make a way through Thomas Borgolowski, and he's got the sister car Bocciolacci directly behind him, and contact. That's the Pirelli coming in, and the crabbing. So clearly a rear tyre has been damaged, or maybe a rear suspension, more likely damaged.
To the chicane they come. Dries van Voorl, then the race leader, 2.5 seconds to the good. There is Marvin Kirchhofer. The SRO Motorsport Aston Martin rides the curb. Kirchhofer doing a good job here in 6th place. He's doing his best to stay with that leading quintet. He's just dropped off the back of Caldarelli a little, but he's clear in turn of Oscar Tunjo in the Silver Cup Audi that he shares with Rick Brokers. Over the line, and now Haase having to go defensive because Caldarelli has decided enough is enough. He needs to get on with this and start to push, and he's doing just that.
And of course, everybody would have learned from what they would have watched. They would have watched the race yesterday once everybody had gone back for their debrief, and they would have been aware of what Caldarelli has got, the capacity of his. Look again, you see how early, look, he's taken half the inside of the corner. He couldn't get any closer to Christopher Haase. It was this part of the racetrack that he ultimately got into the lead by going the long way around the outside of Christian Engelhardt, coming through turn 5 and then turn 6, the downhill right-hander.
So Caldarelli shadowing Haase, who has to go really defensive there. Look to the inside line at turn 5. Cannot afford to leave even half a gap now for Caldarelli because he's on a mission. And that Lamborghini, just the poise of it now, it's coming alive, isn't it, as the stint wears on, as the car is behaving exactly as the Italian wants it to. Christopher Haase, Audi expert, Audi stalwart, comes through turn 8. Simon Gachet nearest us, looks on. Stefan Ortelli at the other side of the drivers seated, watching the monitors, looking at the data, and there, over the curve goes Haase. Chasing after him is Caldarelli. This is for 4th and 5th.
Christopher Haase using everything that he's entitled to do, just putting his car on the inside, denying Andrea Caldarelli, forcing him to look at the long way around, but it's a slightly longer distance, and therefore any gain initially is lost just simply because he's got to go slightly further. But again, back, and Haase now using so much of the inside of turn 3 that almost all 4 wheels are off the tarmac.
So as Simon Gachet gets ready, Mario Engel is not storming away from Caldarelli, is he? How about this traffic jam? Timur Boguslavski has got the other half of the grid all stacked up behind him. Jamie Green up into 17th spot, all over the back of Hugo de Sadalier. Out of turn 17 they come, over the line. 38 minutes still on the clock, and Boguslavski is doing a really good job of fending them all off.
He's holding them all up, certainly, but fending them off. But look, Phil Keane goes one way, trying to find the way. Now, can he get side by side? He's in danger of being run off the racetrack by the Mercedes, and that's going to allow Christian Engelhardt to get up alongside, but not quite. Engelhardt was reading that and thinking, well, I can make a move, but the Aston then running further behind to settle there. He also thought, well, I can have a bit of this action, and further back, Jamie Green, with all that experience racing here in Germany in DTM, well, he knows about overtaking.
Absolutely, he also knows about aero, but he's stuck at the moment behind Hugo de Sadalier, who's ever improving as well in his first year of Blancpain GT, moving from LMP3, LMP2 style sports cars. Dorian Boccolacci in the number 24 Santalok Audi. First GT racing weekend for the former Formula Renault Euro Cup runner-up to Lando Norris. The pit window is now open. Dries van Voorl will stay out because he's quicker than his co-driver. So Christopher Mies is the less experienced Charles Witt. But interestingly, in early to get out of the traffic maybe, Mauro Engel also in, Caldarelli to give way to Marco Mappelli.
Yes, I mean, these two drivers, two teams have decided we're not making progress in traffic. Let's try and do something in the pit stops that we can get out quickly. Hopefully, in the case of the number 4 Mercedes, it will be a safe release, which is what caught them out yesterday. So the Mercedes, the first pit box in the pit lane.
So there comes to its pit box the Lamborghini. There are others pouring in, including Engelhardt, including Boguslavski, as there is the race leader, Dries van Voorl, who has just got to push and try and give Ezequiel Perez-Companc as big a lead as he possibly can. Downhill they plunge once again. And off the road at pit in, now that is Thomas Neubauer, isn't it?
I think it is. I mean, that was almost an incident where he hit the pit lane, the divider between the entry to the pit lane and the racetrack. Fabian Schiller in the Mercedes, did he get out ahead of the 563 Lamborghini or not? Quite.
He's ahead of 63, but he was when he came in. So
that's Mirko Bortolotti.
Yeah, he's maintained track position. Then there, the number 90 Mercedes still ahead of the Lamborghini. Away goes 89, which is Nico Bastian, as in comes Mies out of second place.
Again, probably a very good call from WRT. Get that WRT car in, and as Christopher Haase coming in as well.
Meets up the curb on the pit lane even. They press on until they get to the line, then they hit the speed limiter. So number 4 Mercedes, Luca Stolz at the wheel of it, comes up towards the timing line, chasing Mapelli. Witt will stay ahead, so also will Gachet for Santa Lock, and there Marco Mapelli comes through ahead of number 4 in the hands of Luca Stolz. So down towards turn 1 goes Dries van Thor, but a very slow stop for reasons as yet unexplained for Black Falcon has cost that Mercedes dear. It's cost them a place, and of course significantly it's a place to the championship rival. So what can Stolz do about Mapelli to try to get the place back? Well, first of all he's got to catch, then he's got to try and find a way past, and passing, as we've been saying all weekend, is not easy here. This is a replay of number 4 letting the Aston Martin come in, because yesterday they got done for an unsafe release. So rather than risk it, they were ultra cautious but lost time. Losing nearly 7 seconds in the pits better than another drive-through. You've seen the leader come in, Dries van Thor then, to give way to Ezequiel Perez compact. There he is, then the little Belgian driver down the pit road. Let's see where that car blends back in, and we'll get the proper order at the end of this next lap as well. Compact's going to keep the race lead. Charles Witt, who had a win with Dries van Thor mid-season, he's going to be second, but look at the queue of cars behind, all trying to be third now. They go over the timing line, and the gap between them is 3/10. Now bear in mind that ahead of them, ahead of this trio, is Ricky Collard. Again, on the pit stops, the 76 Aston Martin has jumped all of them. So you've got the 2 Audis, and then Ricky Collard is running in 3rd place.
I mean, that's an outstanding effort by SRO Motorsport to turn the car around as quickly as that.
The leader of Pro-Am there is 87. That is now Mauro Ricci at the wheel. He's just ahead of Finlay Hutchison, who is just ahead of Tom Gamble. The 2 British drivers squabbling amongst themselves there. And this has been a pretty fierce fight for the last few laps. You'll see the damage on the Audi from the first lap of the race. And a long way back in the order is Renat Salikov, who's just done an absolute best in the last sector. Hutchison up on the inside of Ricci, gains a place on the road. That gives him 19th now. And here are the race leaders, and you can see how the gap has come down. It was 1.2 seconds last time, and Charles Witt now with 18 minutes to go is getting closer and closer. Dries van Thor looking almost now as though he knows that the inevitable is coming. So 3 for the lead as they come up towards the chicane. You'll see that Stolz in 6th has dropped back a bit from Mapelli, and is the move going to come on the pit straight? That would be the obvious place to allow Compact just to give a bit more room to Witt, and then cut across and defend from Collard. But Collard, all of a sudden, he's on the attack. He's right there on the back of the number 2 Audis. They come across the line out of our window. We can see them being nose to tail, and Collard now is on the attack. So rather than giving up the lead, rather than defending the lead, Compact sees in his mirrors a challenge coming. Here comes Witt up the inside, and there's contact between the 2 as he turns in on the number 2 car, and Collard leads the way. The Aston Martin leads.
Unbelievable. That should have been an look at a puncture now for
what
I cannot
drama.
believe. You could see Vertz's father was going nuts in the pit. They should have been an instruction a lap earlier by allowing what happened into turn 1. They've thrown the lead away. Ricky Collard did a blinding job down the inside.
Well, Ricky Collard, 3rd generation racer, and there, walking away from a crippled car, Ezequiel Perez Compact. Now here's another look at the incident, and up the inside goes Witt. Compact turns in, bang, and what does Dries van Thor think about all of that? Let's see. That, I think, tells you everything you need to know. I'm on my way home, thanks. Ricky Collard now just has to tick off the laps. And there, look, the sister car, number 62 of Auro Vigno, keeping Kelvin van der Linde at bay. Vigno is running 3rd in the Silver Cup, and up the inside goes van der Linde. Up the curb he tries to go. He in turn, oops, more contact. He's trying to fend off 55 of Stein Scott-Horst. The 2 Attento Audis side by side. Van der Linde gets stuck behind the Fiat Auro Vigno to the outside line now. Comes 55 Scott-Horst as they break for turn 5. Scott-Horst goes ahead of his teammate, does he? Yeah, round the outside. Is he getting the inside of Vigno? He tries, but he can't do it. The Aston is just ahead as they drop downhill. Great stuff. So we're currently looking at 8 more minutes to go. We're on lap 27. Ricky Collard leads the way, and he is going to be absolutely buzzing if he scores this race win. Marvin Kirchhofer, his co-driver for SRO Motorsport, but number 62 Auro Vigno in the second car that was started by Hugo de Sadelier is ahead of a big sideways moment from Stein Scott-Horst, who therefore gives the place back to Kelvin van der Linde. 55, absolutely full opposite lock coming out of the chicane. And here, Scott-Horst is on the attack once more. He wants to get the place back. Van der Linde needed no second invitation there. And a tiny error by Stein Scott-Horst. The car got away from him. He managed to catch it, but van der Linde is through and stays ahead at turn 1. Ricky Collard Not a wheel has he put wrong, and that's the way he intends to keep it to the very end of the race now. It will be a first win at this level for Ricky. As I say, he came initially after a brief visit to Alton Park in Ginetta Juniors through single-seater racing with the British Formula 4, then Formula 3 scenes. Had a few races when his dad was injured last year in the British Touring Car Championship. He drove for BMW in a GT4 car within the VLN. The sister car has lost 1 place to 66, and he's under attack for just about everything else going into turn 1. So Aro Vigno runs out wide, Van der Linde goes ahead, Stein Scotthorst goes ahead, so that's a shuffle around now for 12th, 13th and 14th. And then you've also got Taylor Proto and Matteo Drudi. Drudi ahead of Proto now, right up behind as well. Aro Vigno coming under attack from all corners here. Out of turn 4 they blast, a nervous-looking Marvin Kirchhofer counting off the corners. Barely able to study the monitor properly for fear of seeing something he doesn't like. But Ricky Collard, I don't think he's going to do anything silly now, is he? Been a really impressive run, this, from the young British driver. The SRO Motorsport Aston Martin Vantage GT3, started by Marvin Kirchhofer, is going to be brought to the line by Ricky Collard, who's going to score his first race win at this level. Checkered flag at the ready for Aston Martin, for SRO Motorsport. Ricky Collard and Marvin Kirchhofer win at the Nurburgring. There's a delighted Marvin Kirchhofer almost falling over the pit wall. Great drive by him in the first stint, great pit stop, and a great effort in the second stint by Ricky Collard to bring the car home as the winner. And second goes the way of Simon Gachet and Christopher Haase. Third, Marco Mappelli and Andrea Caldarelli ahead of Luca Stolz. As there, we've had a change right at the end. Aurelian Panis up to 5th in the Lexus ahead of Rick Brokers. And Marvin Kirchhofer is ready. Come on, Ricky, park here. P1, well done. And he is absolutely delighted. And if Marvin Kirchhofer is happy, imagine how pleased Ricky Collard is going to be. There's not much of him. Racing for Antoine, pointed to by Marvin Kirchhofer. And a delighted Ricky Collard explodes out of the car. Absolutely delighted. A great drive, didn't put a wheel wrong. Savours the moment, clambers on top of the car. Absolutely beside himself. Great job, Ricky. And he can't believe it. Absolutely great effort. So Ricky Collard wins. And he also is keen to remember Antoine Hubert in that win. And let's try and calm Ricky Collard down a touch. Who better to get a word than John Watson?
Well, Ricky, first of all, that was a very understated sort of chat you had with your team there.
I'm speechless. I just can't thank everyone enough. You know, I'm new to SRO Motorsports, my first year with the team, first year of Aston Martin. And did I think we'd be up the top step? No way. I was hoping for a podium. But, you know, when I have a sniff of a win, you know, you dig an extra bit deeper and you've got to get it.
Well, when we spoke before the race started, you didn't quite show that confidence.
I just don't think I don't think anyone here expected us to do this. And you know, what the boys have done behind the scenes, you know, if you look at the start of the season, you know, our pit stops weren't great. So, you know, as much as we've done a cracking job here, you know, the boys back in there, they've done a proper job. And they gave me the opportunity and a great race car. And obviously, like Marvin's just touched on, we are part of the SRO Motorsport Group. And I wish Hubert and all his family, you know, my sincerest gratitude, because I used to race against Hubert, was a great racer, kicked my ass many times, but no, thank you.
Well, he'll be looking down and saying well done to you guys.
Let's confirm the results of the second race of the weekend in Blancpain GT World Challenge Europe here at the Nurburgring. Ricky Collard and Marvin Kirchhofer, first-time winners ahead of Simon Gachet and Christopher Haase. Marco Mappelli, third, with Andrea Caldarelli ahead of Luca Stolz and Mauro Engel. A great fifth, the Lexus, Aurelian Panis and Jack Hawksworth ahead of Silver Cup winning Rick Brokers and Oscar Tuncho. Seventh, Stephen Paulette and Marcus Finkelhock ahead of Mirko Bortolotti and Christian Engelhardt. There, the drivers about to receive the trophies. Ricky Collard on the top step. Diana Clem, the marketing and sales coordinator from Blancpain, hands over the trophies to third, Marco Mappelli, Andrea Caldarelli. Second place, the drivers there. You have Simon Gachet and Christopher Haase, and then the first Blancpain winning trophy for Ricky Collard and Marvin Kirchhofer as they stand on the top step. Pirelli caps on, trophies in the air, and two very happy drivers indeed. We'll see you in Budapest in a week's time.